All right, guys, well, I'm back today taking a look at a very premium rifle scope from Primary Arms. We are looking at the PLX 6-30 by 56mm objective lens featuring the ACSS Athena BPR mil reticle system, and Primary Arms always kills it with their PLX series, which is a more premium lineup from their line of optics, as well as the ACSS reticle system. There's really nothing on the market that compares with the amount of information easily presented to the user through a lot of the ACSS reticle systems. We'll be taking a look at more of that reticle system in a minute. But before we do, I want to give a huge shout out to AAC for sponsoring the ammo to help make this video. We ran a lot of their 6.5 Creedmoor black tip through this setup. And we are looking at a Ruger M77. I believe this is the long-range hunter. We'll talk a little bit more about this Hawkeye in a future video, but this stuff was a tack driver. With this optic and with this ammo, it felt like cheating, but let's get back into the review of the optic. We're going to be talking about the specs and features of this optic, its performance down at the range, and we're going to finish off with why you may want something like this. But let's start off with the general specs and features. Starting off with the price, it's kind of the elephant in the room on this one. I generally review high-value items, and this is definitely high value, but it's top tier. The MSRP is right around $1,500. Your street price may vary, but that's kind of the starting point for this optic. Inside the box itself, you get the optic, you get the flip-up lens covers, and a sunshade. So you're not going to get a lot of different mounting options, but Primary Arms does offer PLX mounting options, and that really depends on what exactly you're doing, whether you're throwing on a flat top, you're throwing on a bolt gun, the list goes on and on. So kind of just grab what you want, and they're not upcharging you, because this PLX lineup and PLX mounts do come with a more premium price because of the quality that they put into these products. Now, this scope is made in Japan. I get a lot of requests for more premium products, and also countries of origin outside of China. So for those guys requesting that, this one is for you when it comes to long-range optics, but still keeping in mind the high-value nature. The 6-30 zoom gives you a ton of versatility, but this is definitely not set up for your 100 to 200 yard deer hunting outages. This is a true long-range precision rifle scope, so something like a 3-9, 4-16, or even a 5-25 may suit you a touch better for close-up shooting. But guys, the first time I shot 1,000 yards was actually with a Primary Arms optic, and it just made it so simple. The 56mm objective lens is going to gather a ton of light for this optic, and it's going to shove it down this 34mm tube. Now, that is another thing about the PLX lineup. Most of them are going to be running 34mm tubes, meaning you're going to have to run 34mm mounts. That's not a big deal because the industry really has shifted to kind of considering that 34mm tube a more premium option, and that is going to also give you not just a little bit better light transmission to the optical lens system, but it's also going to give you a lot more adjustments up and down, and that's primarily the reason for something like that. You're going to have more adjustments left and right and up and down because of that 34mm tube, allowing you to dial in for those extremely long distance shots. Now, this is also just a great fit and finish. It's got 0 resettable turrets. The turrets themselves have nice audible and tactile clicks. They're exposed, easy to use, easy to understand, and they have a 0 stop built in. Everything that you would expect from a premium optic. And this also does have side parallax and illumination, so it's going to get you everything you need that you would expect from an optic like this. Now let's talk a little bit about that reticle system, and I will reference the manual. I love the manual because it tells you everything you know, from how to set the 0 stops to explaining the windage and elevation, and all of their, well, a lot of the ACSS reticles for the long-range optics do have ranging built in right there, and they go over in detail exactly how to use every single aspect, including the ranging right there. Now, this one is in mils, so it's not caliber specific, which is great for kind of that jack of all trades rifle scope that you may swap from rifle to rifle, Or for something like this, it's on a 6.5 Creedmoor. A lot of them are going to be set up for 223, 556, or 308, so having something that's not caliber specific is nice to drop on something that's not quite the norm, but 6.5 Creedmoor does have a lot of ACSS reticles dedicated to them, and those are actually options as well on primary arms. So if this mill reticle wasn't for you, they offer different style optics with different style reticle systems. In a nutshell, this is incredibly nice optic for the money. The last thing I want to talk about is why you would want something like this and kind of incorporating the function down at the range. For me, this is for somebody who wants to shoot well past 500 yards. This optic, again, is not for those 500-yard and in shots. Primary Arms has optics that do that plenty fine for a lot cheaper. This is going to be one of those optics where you really are going to be shooting 5, 6, even out to 1,000 yards a lot, or the primary focus. Everything about this is just incredibly nice. The zoom lever is super smooth. The turrets are built quality. The housing is very nice. But more importantly, the glass quality, the eye box, the eye relief, the image quality is spectacular. At 150, 200 yards, just shooting regular paper, I could zoom in and see my hits, and you can't really do that with a lot of other optics, or at least that clear. You could easily see like the 6.5 Creedmoor holes in a white sheet of paper at 200 yards and know exactly where it's at and then adjust accordingly. The glass clarity on this is absolutely spectacular. A lot of companies will throw out like made in Japan or Japanese glass, but there's levels to that stuff even in that Japanese glass and Japanese construction kind of area. And this one is top tier. This one is very premium. It feels nice. It works great. About the only complaint would be the price. But honestly, again, like I said, this is for extreme long-range shooting, and it works out incredibly well. Also being the fact that it's a first focal plane reticle, anywhere between that 6 and 30 zoom, all of those mills are going to be mills accordingly. As you zoom in and out, it gets larger and smaller, and those bullet drop compensations that you calculate are going to be effective at every single zoom level, and that ranging is also going to be effective at every single zoom level. So it is just a true precision champ in my opinion. I can highly recommend it. I like it. I think you will too. But again, you are going to have to fork up a little bit of cash. If you're looking for more affordable options, I also have reviews on my channel of things like that. Definitely subscribe so you don't miss the next video. And I'm constantly reviewing high-value products. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Would you ever consider spending this much on an optic? Or for you, is this just entry level and you guys are dropping $3 grand? I want to hear your thoughts. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one.